Good. Ooh, that was a loud alert in my ear. Hey, I think I'm actually live. Let's check audio. Maybe. Darn it. Sorry, guys. Okay. Okay, I can see that I'm live, but I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to share my screen like I want to. So this is kind of all one big experiment. But hi, everybody. Sorry, I'm going to turn on my little foot heater thing. My name is Megan Germain. I am the owner and event coordinator for JBF Livonia Novi. Tonight we are talking all about drop-off. So our fall sale event is next week, which is crazy to think about. And we have been prepping and preparing and doing all the things for 12 to 16 weeks now. But this is your Super Bowl. If you're a seller with us, this is what you have been preparing for and getting all of your items ready and purging all of your kids' closets and toy bins and things. So, as much preparation as you've put into that, we want to make sure that your experience dropping off is as clear and as smooth as possible. So, I've put together a guide that will help you and hopefully answer all of your questions up front. If it doesn't, I'm going to take some notes and probably add those things in there so that, like I said, we can make sure that our documentation is as clear and complete as possible. So I'm going to keep an eye on my phone because sometimes Facebook Live doesn't, even though I have it on my other monitor here, it doesn't like show me comments and stuff sometimes. It's really strange. So I'm going to keep an eye on my phone right here. But I'm going to walk us through the drop-off guide as you ask questions. If I breeze over your question, it's probably because I'm going to be getting to it in a different page. So maybe hold your questions for the end if you can, and just speak up if you need clarification on what we're talking about right at that moment, like what we're presenting on the screen. So without further ado, I'm going to try and share my screen, not get kicked off of the live. And we will dive in. If I can find so I'm going to make myself tiny and share this guy. Okay, let's flip over to I think that worked. Yay! It did. Great. Okay. So this is your drop-off guide. You can find this if you go to our main website and you go to I think it says sell. I think it's just right at the top, sell. If you hover over that, it's a drop down. The very last item is called resource library. There's only 3 items there, so really easy. That resource library is a seller resource library. So it's where we've compiled hopefully all of the things that you need to feel equipped and prepared to have a successful sale with us. So this drop-off guide is there. And it is what I call a living document. It's live. So if I make changes, I don't have to republish it anywhere. I don't have to download it and upload it. It's just there. So just so you know that when I say I'm updating it, it's like almost instant. All right. So a few things to start off with. I might look here because this is really tiny on my screen. A few opening thoughts. We've had this question come up quite a bit, so I just want to answer it right here. One of the perks of working a drop-off shift, like anytime on Wednesday, October 1st, one of the perks of that shift is that you don't really need a drop-off time. I know our registration page forced you to pick one, but when you work drop-off, the perk of that is that you get to do your own drop-off, maybe a little bit before your shift, maybe after your shift, maybe in between if there's a lull. I think right around like 5 or 6, like dinner time, there's like, that's I think the most amount of available spots right now is that time frame. So we'll see a slowdown in the crowd. Excuse me. So that might be an opportunity to start putting your things out. Oh, and I will say as far as I know, I'm recording this. So I'm giving this my best effort to capture all of this for those of you that aren't able to join right away, or maybe you're joining midway through or what have you. I'm attempting to record this. So, okay, so we covered the first bullet point. Second thing, when you arrive at drop-off, you need your registration ticket / QR code ready. And I put some screenshots there. The top one is right here. This is like the email. So you can search this in your inbox. And this is what the header of the email is going to look like. This is the QR code that we're looking to scan on arrival. I will resend all of these. It's an automated process that I set up. I will resend, and it's your entire confirmation page, right? The thing that you got when you initially signed up. I will resend all of that just a few days before the sale, so it's like fresh in your inbox. So no need to like panic email me or message and say, what's my drop-off time? I forget, I can't find it. I am resending it to you. Also, you will want one tagged item ready. And that can happen a couple different ways. If you are maybe a more experienced seller and you know exactly what you're doing and you're packed up all proper and you're going to come in with your wagon full of stuff because you're going to hit the floor right away, love that for you. Just make sure you can have easy access at least one tag that we can scan. The importance of that is that it is letting our POS system know that your tags are at this event. So it connects things. I guess that's like the layman's way to say that. But if we don't do that, if we don't tell the system that you're in it, you're participating in the sale, it causes a lot of problems and backups at the cash register. So have a tagged item ready. What I started to say was you might have your whole wagon with you, scan an item, and you hit the floor. If you're new and you kind of want to see the lay of the land, or maybe you just got big giant stuff, try and bring in one tiny thing. A piece of clothing, a little toy, something that we can scan the tag. If you are bringing large items, and I know you are, our last sale, we were stacked on large items. I want to make sure that you pre-register for the JBF Bucks bonus. That's really easy to do. Again, you're going to go to the resource library. A pink button at the top says like ambassadors earn 10 plus JBF Bucks. It's something like that. Go there all the way at the bottom. It doesn't cost you any money. It just lets us know that you're participating and we should have something ready for you at drop off. That's really what it is. It's not, we're not trying to like punish anybody by not registering. It's more that like we need to have materials ready for you at drop off. And that's why we can't accept on the spot registrations for this bonus. So if you bring 5 large items that are on the list, and the list is there on that page, we give you 25 JBF bucks to spend. So it's a little added bonus because your large items are going to sell like hotcakes. I'm certain of it. Just making sure. I see that there's 6 watchers. I just want to make sure that we're good. Can someone just give me like a little like thumbs up or like one little comment that we're doing okay here? I'll wait for that to come through. There is a delay, so I'll just keep going and I'll just check back in a second. Okay, so then we're going to talk about like what happens between checking in and checking out in just a second. But if I can skip over that, I want to make sure that I tell you, you must check out. We did this a similar way in our bonus holiday sale, and I think it worked really well. We've tried seller pre-sale tickets a couple different ways, and I think I like this way the best. So what happens is when you're leaving, and your exit is not going to be the same as your entrance, so that will be helpful. We'll be able to catch you. You must check out. It's very simple. We're going to make sure that you are emailed the proper pre-sale ticket that you've earned, and make sure that you get any of your bonus, your JBF bucks. If you've won anything like a bag, a prize, anything like that, that's where you're going to find all of those items. So make sure that you have that ticket ready, because it's going to show us your name and your consignor number and maybe an ID, especially if we're giving like JBF bucks, which is essentially money. We want to make sure it's getting into the right person's hands. So like I said, I'm going to send an email with all of this information, a link to this recording, a link to this guide. And like I said, I'm also going to be resending your initial confirmation a little bit later. So you will have all of this in your inbox very soon. My tip to you is to always search JBF Livonia / Novi, or even just Livonia / Novi, because like how many things are named to that? None, just me. So you'll be able to find it pretty quickly, along with all of our other emails. Okay. This is kind of a bummer because this shows, I promise this shows up on the actual guide, but this is a photo, like a satellite photo of the LAD, because I wanted to show you what I mean by the outdoor pathway. So if you can just use your imagination with me, I'm so sorry that this did not load properly. But this over here is like the main parking lot. And this down here is like our giant soccer field. There is a pathway. There's outdoor pickleball courts over here. This pathway, it looks like you're going to the pickleball courts, but you're going to a side entrance of the LAD. And that will be your entrance for drop-off. It will be our exit for shopping. Okay, so no matter what we're doing, it's a one-way street. And that works really well for security purposes mostly. So you're going to come up this pathway here. If we haven't been to the LAD in a little while, and I know that not everybody goes there as often as I do, but so if you haven't been there, you would not know that it is now paved. So this is a paved ramp system that goes right up to that back garage door. And so if you have wagons, rolling racks, like a cart, anything like that, it's going to be a smooth ride, a little bit uphill to that door. Where you exit for drop off, which again, on the real guide, you'll see this whole thing. But this little door, that's going to be the main entrance for shopping, but it is your exit for drop off. Okay. So here's our interior map. Like I said, you're coming in over here. Immediately is clothing inspection. So again, I'll be sending out fast passes and things like that in short order. So if you have a fast pass, you can still need to check in. But you're going to get to skip clothing inspection. And if you give me 1 second, I need to turn off alerts on a different system because it keeps like dinging really loud in my ear. Okay, so if you are an express drop-off person, you will leave your items right here. Please, please, please have them organized exactly how you might if you were actually dropping them off, like so clothing and gender, size, and category order, hanging things up on a rack, having baby toys all together, having big kid toys all together, maybe your large items, things like that, just to make it easier for my staff to get those items out on the floor for you. Next, you'll notice a customer service. This is a tent, but it's our customer service tent. This is where I think it's pretty obvious during shopping hours what a customer service tent would be. But for your purposes at drop off, customer service is shoot, my tag ripped off and I can't find the safety pin. Is there an extra one? Yeah, absolutely. I brought my kid with me and she was playing on the turf and skinned her knee. Do you have a Band-Aid? Yes, customer service. Shoot, I cleaned this baby walker and my kid slobbered on it on the way here. Do you have a wipe? Yes, customer service. Oh my gosh, there's a scuff on this shoe. I totally didn't even notice. Hey, we've got some magic erasers. We've got Tide pens. We've got all the emergency little things that for maybe on an item that you didn't see at home, and now you're seeing it under the big, like, stadium lights, essentially. It's very bright in there. So all of those things can be found at customer service. Next are shoes. They kind of wrap around this way, infant care and essentials. This whole area is clothing racks. Our accessories, I only wrote it down here, but it's true of both this side and this side of the clothing racks, that accessories hang on the end caps of those. I just didn't want to clutter it up with this like teen drop zone. Okay. So in the middle, oh, sorry, we also have Mommy Mart. So that's kind of like right as you walk in. In the middle here, we've got some kids' room decor. Then we've got our games, puzzles, educational arts and crafts, a whole pod for books. This is actually representative of 2 pods for toys. Costumes will be on a rack right here. And these are like play costumes or like Halloween costumes. If you have dance costumes, those would go in sports. So just want to make that quick distinction. Pushwalkers, ride-ons, like those like toddler type toys are going to go kind of along the ground right here in front of toys. Most of the time, those are not considered a large item, but we can circle back to that in a minute. We've got some stuffed animals, not to be confused with Squishmallow Mountain, which is right here. So if you have Squishmallows, those are going to go over there. They have their own special little spot. And then all in here, you see we have a table set up for car seats, all of our baby gear. So nursery furniture, cribs, pack and plays, bassinets, bouncers, high chairs, strollers, walkers, all of those baby things are going to go along this side. And then extending out this way is all of our sort of bigger kid stuff. So your outdoor climbers, your slides, bikes, scooters, wagons, which I know some are like of the stroller variety, but if it's a wagon, we definitely want it kind of with wagons so that if someone's looking for that type of thing, it's not lost in the strollers. Does that make sense? Right here, for now, this is where this felt like it made the most sense to me, but it might move depending on how, after we get things set up and how things are looking in terms of like space and walkways, things like that. This is where you're going to check in those large items. So you need to check in for the bonus, we want to see your 5 items, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We want to make sure that they're JBF up to JBF standard, and as well as in terms of quality, but also pricing. And then we want to be able to hand you a ticket to go get your bonus. If you have things like car seats, boosters, cribs, any of those types of items that need a waiver, we also want to kind of like lay eyes on those for a hot minute to make sure that you have the waiver attached and that they haven't been recalled, all those good things. So, sorry, I should have pointed this out in the beginning. Little legend right here, some little tips at the bottom. Bring your own wagon if you have it, or a rolling rack. We have limited wagons and rolling racks. Okay, so if a particular drop-off time is pretty stacked, like pretty full, sold out, and there are a good number of them, well, all of those things are going to be spoken for, right? So try to bring your own wagon. Organize as you pack. So we're going to go through some of this in detail of how you can organize as you're packing. And then I've also given you an option to print the claim tickets on your own, so it speeds up some of that check-in process. Last note on this page, sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit. Right here, so I touched on FastPass. So I just want to remind our FastPass holders, or should you earn one at this sale, I want to make sure you don't lose it. So you can, once you've earned a FastPass, you can lose it by having 3 or more items pulled from the floor for quality purposes. So just keep that in mind as you're doing your checks and prepping your items, pinning things, making sure that you've given it a really good once over, and we're not going to pull a no thank you and you lose that FastPass. So I still don't see any comments, but I do see 8 people watching. I hope that means we're doing okay. Also, this is hyperlinked. I know the Canva pops up here and it's not going to let me show you as I'm hovering over this, but in the real document, that's hyperlinked to a sheet you can print. Okay, so I should have said this over here. In the past, we have labeled our sales floor. We've put up all of our signs. Consigners have put their items out on their own, and that's worked fine, especially when we were low on staff or crew. This time, we're executing drop zones, or it might be a little bit of a hybrid situation depending on how many people actually arrive for their shift. So if you are signed up, please, 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 please make sure you come to your shift because we do need you. Like, truly, we need you. So I'm going to talk about all these details in just a second, but we're going to try for drop zones, which means there's going to be labeled baskets, laundry baskets, out on our tables and pods that you will find for your items the corresponding basket and put your items in the basket, and we will put them out on the floor for you and merchandise and make it look very pretty. The only exception to that statement is clothing. You will put clothing out on your own, and you will put out help to put out your large items once they've been given a thumbs up. So, okay, on to drop zones. I realize this might be kind of small. Sorry, I'm just making sure that. Oh, see, I clicked into this, and now I see the comments. I can't believe that. Sorry, guys. Okay, so I see comments now finally. Okay, so toys and stuffed animals. These are sort of the categories and where you're going to place things. Like I said, we will have these all labeled out for you. I will say I don't necessarily have like signs for all of these. Like I know that I don't have like a My Little Pony sign or a Dora the Explorer sign, but this helps us kind of get those, younger child toys all together with some theming so that when we put it out on the floor, it's all together. So if somebody's looking for My Little Pony, or they're looking specifically for Vampirina or Peppa Pig, they can find it because it's all going to be together. We also have, some infant baskets. Excuse me one second. Toddler baskets. Sorry, when I talk so much, I get really dry mouth. Our 7+ baskets. So those are what I would consider big kid toys. And the reason for the distinction why we put them on 2 separate pods are choking hazards, right? Bigger kid toys are going to be those smaller Legos, smaller pieces, smaller little accessories to all your heroes or your Barbies. So we want those on a completely separate space than our baby toys, just, to try and keep everything separated and safe. So we've got blocks, cars, pretend play, miscellaneous toys, dolls. If you have something and you don't see it specifically listed here, so like we've got some theming right here, like characters. I've tried to kind of capture everything here, but I would say use your best judgment. Don't stress if your item ends up, it was supposed to be an infant B, but it ended up in A. Not a big deal. As long as we're as close as possible to, what we're trying to do, that's good enough for us. Okay. So don't stress about tracking down a staff member or getting help or whatever if you don't find the exact lined up basket that you're looking for. Then we've got stuffies. Just a reminder on stuffies, this is in our guide, so definitely keep referencing that. Stuffies should be like special or name brand. So Disney, they're Disney characters. They are Cocomelon. They are, or they do something, they like talk back, or they, I'm thinking for like littler kids, like you remember that my kids loved Violet, that dog that like talked back to you and stuff. So things like that. Just your average teddy bear or, I don't know. I can't think of anything. That would just be too many items for us in terms of, like, because we all know our kids have way too many stuffed animals. So that's how we ask to limit the stuffies. Squishmallows are unlimited, which is why we have Squishmallow Mountain, because we get so many of them. But they do sell well. So I've also linked, sorry, the Canva thing keeps popping up here, but down here, links, I think it links directly to our what to sell guide. But again, that's another thing you can find on that resource library. Okay, I'm going to scroll through questions really quickly. So I see the pack and play questions. So I'm gonna get to that. We have a whole large item page, but it's a really good question. So essentials, accessories, and shoes. So similar. On the infant essentials or infant care area, we will have laundry baskets. And right now the plan is to have that as racking. So if you're experienced with JBF, you know the racking I'm talking about, where we kind of wedge the basket in between the poles, and there'll be like 5 levels of that. You can put all your stuff in there. Hanging essentials. So these are your diaper bags, your baby slings, baby carriers, swaddles, burp cloths, blankets, though things like that, believe it or not, all go much better on a hanger. And because we are using the racking, we can have a designated place to hang those items. Now, if you have something like a baby carrier or a higher end diaper bag, please, please, please get a staff member or go to the customer service area. Actually, that would be where you would find a staff member, and get a security tag, because we want to protect your item. So we would put a bright pink security tag on there, and maybe even like zip tie it or cable it to the rack itself. Because again, we just want to take that extra precaution that item doesn't find some legs and find its way out the door. So with that, and I still have the dinging. It must be a different system of mine. So sorry, I lost my train of thought there with that big ding. Accessories. So things like socks, tights, little girl purses, lunch bags, things like that. Actually, lunch bags, no. Lunch bags are going to be separate. They'll have their own bin. Sorry. I guess I'm talking like wearable accessories. I mentioned in the beginning that those all go on the end caps of our clothing. So use your best judgment, but there'll be baskets on the ends of those racking aisles, and do your best to match up what it is you have in your hand with the size that goes down that aisle. So, if you're at the end of toddler girls and you have toddler girl tights, well, walk to the end of that aisle, find the basket that has that, drop it in there. We ask that you put a clip on it before you drop it in the bin. I seem to always buy more clips every sale. So if there aren't any, don't fret. We'll handle it. But there should be enough clothespins about so you can clip it on there and get it in the bin. It just makes our process of like putting it up for you go a little faster. So I talked about accessories, hanging essentials, shoes. So shoes, there'll be like a table. We'll do a quick inspection of your shoes. Anything that's a no thank you, we're going to put it in a red bag. Anything else, you're going to go put out in the basket of the corresponding gender and size. So again, there'll be baskets out everywhere, labels. You're going to put it in this corresponding gender size basket. Play shoes, which haven't been as popular at our sale. Play shoes will be on the very bottom, like the ground level. So that's where you want to make sure you put play shoes. And just a reminder, this is in our guide, our what to sell guide. But play shoes are name brand shoes. So Nike, Adidas, New Balance, that don't fully meet a JBF standard. Maybe there's some scuffs on them you can't get out. Maybe it's a little more worn than we would like. But the shoe itself is safe and still usable and probably has a lot of life in it. It's going to be someone's literal like playground shoe, right? The shoes that you don't care if you send your kid to school in them and they trash them on a rainy day because you only paid $2 for them. And that's the catch with play shoes. They need to be priced $2 or less, marked for half off and donation. So that's your play shoe category. I think that covers that. Oh, and one last thing on shoes. These are shoes that I'm saying this especially as we get into like those bigger sizes where it's like, well, my teen wears a women's 7. So is it a women's shoe or a teen shoe? Your barometer is a teen wearing that every day to high school or middle school? If the answer is yes, then that's a teen shoe. If the answer is no, it's going to be a no thank you. And all shoes, with the exception of like sports shoes, and that's a really funny way of saying that, but ballet shoes, cleats, I'm trying to think of like ski boots, ice skates, like we've had a few of those come through. Those shoes will go in sporting goods. All other shoes go in shoes. So, moving on. So our other categories, and this is like books. So there's a big section, actually like 2 rows, like a pod and like a huge row of shelving For books, arts and crafts, electronics, puzzles, education, like homeschooling type materials, and then Mommy Mart. Those are all kind of like near each other, and it's similar setup, guys. The baskets are labeled. You're just putting them in there. We're gonna do our best with books. That's honestly a category that stresses me out, in terms of like making sense of it all. But we have some amazing staff members that love books, and they are very good at that. So I just let them take over that area. But again, you're going to do your best to get your items in all of the proper categories. And then down there, kind of jumping a little bit backwards to sporting goods. So that sporting goods table is kind of near this, like closer to the large items. So make sure all your sporting goods are on that table or the rack. There will be a hanging rack there to hang up your leotards, your dance costumes, I don't know, if you're selling football pads or anything like that, that's where that would go. Oh shoot, I thought I had another thing to say about that, and it left my brain. Okay. Moving right along. Clothing. The big kahuna. So, as I stated, you are putting out your clothing. If you've been inspected, you're free to go put your clothing out. If you have a fast pass, you are going to need that ready to show. I should add that at the beginning. You are going to need to show your fast pass that I'm going to email you when you check in. Okay. Here is a breakdown of our sizing. Okay. Infant and children. Children. Does that go all the way up to teen? No, we have teen sizing down here. Costumes and maternity. I need to put another graphic in here for maternity and juniors. I just realized that. I'll explain. So, clothing categories. So we have boys clothing and girls clothing. We have maternity and we have juniors or teen. Okay. For children's clothing. So the boy, girl, right? This is how they will be categorized. You'll have it's hard to see here, but when you look at this on your own, you're going to see that this says sizer, and they're pointing at each other. So that means anything in between here is this size. And we will have rack dividers. Holiday, swim. That's what I was going to say. Swim goes in clothing, not in sporting goods. Okay. Holiday, swim, tops, bottoms, outfits. But outfits are inclusive of dresses and rompers. Okay. PJs, outerwear. So it doesn't work in our floor plan to have all of our winter gear in its own area. So you're going to put it in your gender and size and category, just like everything else. You'll notice that this is the same. It's vertical. So it's not like bottoms are on the bottom and tops are on the top. It's tops, bottoms, outfits, so on and so forth. I put a little star here. We want to load to the bottom first. Again, if you haven't been in the lad with us before, you would not know that the turf in there is brand new, very squishy, which is great for athletes, terrible for balancing racks. And we do all that we can in terms of, I have sandbags that we weight them down with. We do rack checks. We walk, down the front of them, make sure nothing's leaning, all that good stuff. But it really does come down to weight distribution. So as much as you can, load to the bottom first and then go up. That helps keep everything really nice and stable. But the rack divider is going to be on the top only. So you have to imagine like an invisible little string hanging down and dividing the categories. Okay? So where I goofed here is that maternity will function like juniors in that they will be by category and then size. So you'll have all of your dresses together in size order, and then you'll have all of your sweaters or tops together in size order. Very similar to how you would shop in a department store, right? So if you walk into Kohl's and you see all of the same sweater right there in the same design, but all the sizes are together for that. So you can, pick out which one you think will fit you best. So both juniors and maternity will be organized like that. Little note on accepted brands. I actually think our accepted brands are more than just what's right there. So definitely reference back to the What to Sell When guide. Yes, that's the one that has, it's like a huge page of brands that we accept are right there. What if sorry, I'm seeing a question. What if a basket is full? We have like hundreds of laundry baskets. And the idea is that we will have enough staff and crew. So if you haven't signed up for a shift yet, you're going to do that and make sure that drop off is well staffed so that we don't have any backups. But those people are going to be kind of like running and putting things out while the night is going on. So if there's a full basket, they are probably working very hard to get everything out on the floor. We'll just replace it with an empty one. Racks and clothing. So the way we set up the racks is so that it can be a little fluid. So if we need to snake things differently to make room for a certain size or category, we do that. So don't think of this as so rigid. Like it won't be like one size is between, because this little visual right here would be like 20 feet of rack, and not all sizes take up 20 feet of racking. Some barely take up one. Baby girls is, forever and ever. So don't be so rigid about like where these uprights are on the poles. Just look for the sizers, and if we need to adjust and scooch things down or backwards, forwards, we will do that. Okay, large items. So a large item is anything that cannot be carried easily with one hand or does not fit in a JBF shopping bag. And if you haven't seen a JBF shopping bag, it is very similar to our favorite Scandinavian furniture store bag. It's big. That's why things like push toys and ride-ons aren't considered a large item, because they're very, they're usually like really light plastic and they're not too bulky or awkward. They don't usually get a yellow tag. So you have two options to do these. You can DIY it at home. There's a link there to print out your yellow tag, and a video on how to attach your tag to that, and then secure the whole thing onto your item. If you don't feel confident in that process, or you're fresh out of cardstock or whatever, you can still do what you've always done, which is bring it to the sale and we will help you tag it on site. Just don't attach your white tag to your item just yet, because it needs to go on that yellow tag. So again, if you're new, your tag gets cut in two. The top portion goes up here, the bottom portion goes down here. When someone is shopping and they want that item, but it's like, say it's like a glider, they're not going to be dragging that all over the sales floor, right? They're going to take off that bottom portion. That means it's theirs. Like they're going to check out with that. It's theirs. Another friendly reminder here on recalls and waivers: it is your responsibility to make sure that nothing you are selling has a recall on it. And if it has, you've fixed it or you're not selling it anymore because it's not eligible to be sold. And then you can find waivers there as well. Um, what does this little note here say? Oh, just if you have an item that needs a safety inspection or has a waiver, definitely please check in with staff and don't just abandon your item on the sales floor. You might be asking, how do I know if something needs a safety inspection? Well, a good sort of general umbrella rule is if a baby or a toddler is going to be sitting, sleeping, or standing in it, it needs to be inspected. So, um, Becca is like our recall extraordinaire. Um, she might, depending on if we're backed up at all, she might wave some things through, like extra saucers, things that we know to like come back to and won't take a ton of time. It's like the strollers and the car seats and stuff we want to take a lot of time with. So, and then finally, another reminder on pre-registering for your $25 bonus. This is just a portion of the list of eligible items here. This is hyperlinked to see that full list that's eligible for the $25 bonus. And then another little starburst note here that we need you to assemble your large items when you get to the sale. Excuse me. The only exception really to this is our cribs. Cribs are really big and bulky and for whatever reason, like ultra complicated. So cribs, if you guys have questions about how to display those, we can talk about it. But generally, you're not going to put cribs together. Generally, you're not going to put toddler beds together. But I think they sell better when they are, when the toddler bed is put together, and then everything else, yes, absolutely put together, because it's going to sell better. Sometimes I'll have new in-box items on the floor, and sometimes they sell okay, but they sell much better when they've been assembled because people know it has all the parts and it works and et cetera, et cetera. They're not like taking a gamble with this item that maybe it has everything, maybe it doesn't, you know? So yes, be prepared to put them together. We do not have the capacity to do that for you. Meaning we don't have enough people and we don't have enough manpower, we don't have enough hours to do that as a service. So please do come prepared to set those. So setting up your pack and play, unfolding the stroller, popping out the wagon. If it has a canopy, putting the canopy on it, like all of those good things, it's going to make your item look that much more attractive to a buyer, and make them snatch it off the floor in a second. So this might be our last slide. It is our last slide. Okay. So the first question I see, if I'm working Wednesday morning, would be emptying baskets. Well, drop off doesn't start until 1. So Wednesday morning shift, no, you're not going to be emptying baskets. You're going to be doing all those last minute things, getting our floor set. So putting up signs. If there's any tablecloths that need to go on anything, if there's any, making sure I'm trying to think of the things that we like leave for last. Probably make sure your customer service desk is set up. Things like that. We try and do most of the heavy stuff the night before, like the setting up the racks, getting the tables all stacked. Because Wednesday, drop off is right around the corner. So we don't want to be taking too much time in the morning with tasks we can do ahead of time. On the slide with Mommy Mart, there was a note about an additional tag. Oh, I need to delete that. That doesn't apply to us. So, good catch. That's a typo. Are sleds large items? Probably depends on the sled. I would say yes, but it doesn't qualify for our bonus. So, probably does need a yellow tag, but it wouldn't be eligible for the um well, I don't know. Let me think about that. Hmm. Let me think about that. Because I've seen some really like cool sleds. And if they're really big, like siblings can ride on them. That's I don't know. I haven't bought a sled. I literally get them all like as hand-me-downs. So I'm not even buying them secondhand. I'm getting them secondhand, but I'm not purchasing them secondhand. So I have no idea what a sled costs. Two-person toboggan style. Yeah, that's definitely a large item. I think I'm just trying to think of like, do we want to consider that for the bonus? Um, because the bonus is like going towards items that are the hot sellers, like that we cannot keep in on the floor, like the strollers, like the wagons, like um the bassinets, the extra saucers, like all of those things that just fly out the door. What other questions? I'm gonna scroll a little bit, and see if I missed anything. Hmm. No questions, guys? I answered everything? That's impossible. I don't believe it. I really wish I had some chapstick at my desk right now. I really want to see if I can see comments on here, but I don't want to click anything and like disrupt the homeostasis we've achieved with this live. Um, okay. Well, seeing no questions, and I've been talking for about an hour. Um, remember, this will come up when you get to the actual guide. Um, any other questions? I might just do another quick run through of this. If you think of anything, you're going to chime in. This is a list of the things you need prepared. I think on checkout, you need an ID, I said, so I need to add that there. You need these, or sorry, this is all one email. This is just like a zoomed in portion of this email. But you need this QR code ready for check-in. Do not forget to check out. And I like the check-in. There's two different ways you're doing that. You're doing it with this QR code and one tagged item. But it's helpful for us to know a couple of things. One, how many consigners signed up versus how many came to drop off. And two, where were the most amount of drop offs happening? Where do we need more people? Where do we need fewer people? Where do we need to open up more drop off times or scale back? This is an exterior satellite view of the LAD and parking. Remember, this is your paved path entrance and your exit. It will be the reverse on shopping. Shopping, they will come in what your exit was and leave at your entrance. Here is a kind of zoned floor plan. I will say the racks go like this. They go up and down on this page. So not side to side, up and down. everything has a basket. If the basket is not labeled with your exact item, um, use your best judgment. You'll see, especially if you come in those like earlier times, it's busy. There's a lot of people, and not saying we don't want to help you, but um, right now the schedule looks a little thinner than I would like on drop off day. So what that means is staff are focused on getting those things out of the baskets onto the floor and like arranged all pretty. Um, if you have, Halloween Peppa Pig and you're not sure if it should go with Peppa Pig or the Halloween things, you pick. You pick. Use your best judgment. Um, and we'll make sure that we get all of your items out on the floor. Stuffies need to be name brand or have something kind of special to them. Squishmallows are Squishmallows. They have their very own special place. Similar drop zones for everything else, infant essentials or infant care, hanging essentials. Remember that if you have a higher end diaper bag, baby carrier, please see customer service and get a security tag. Okay, it's just one extra layer of keeping those pricier items protected. Not just pricier items, but like, I hate to say this, but like, think about how many people walk in wearing a baby carrier, pushing a stroller. So we want to make sure that they're, it doesn't happen often, knock on wood, has not happened to us, again, knock on wood, but there is a potential for a swap. So we want to mitigate that as much as possible. So make sure you see customer service for security tag. And I would say that's probably not another thing I should put in here, like a little starburst, but anything you have that is high end or pricey, like a tablet or a kid's camera, we have a way of like cabling it to the table or the rack. And there's like a special tool you have to use to cut it off that only my staff has. So it's another layer of protection where your item isn't, because we used to have like a high value like section, but it wasn't shopped very well because it was kind of like awkward and a kind of like a smattering of items. So now I want your tablet in with the electronic, everything else. We're just going to tether it in a way that it cannot be stolen or pocketed. So see customer service for that. You're going to use your best judgment on accessories, like wearable accessories. They are displayed on the end caps of racks. So there'll be baskets there, labeled. Use your best judgment aligning to like the sizes that are going down that aisle. So toddler girl tights should go on the end of toddler girls, not teen girls. There's a question about TY new with tag stuffies. Are those the things with the big eyes? I think that's what you mean. What is the question? Are they allowed? Yes. Those are allowed. I hope that resolved that. I'm going to take another sip of my beverage here. Shoes. We're doing a quick inspection of shoes, putting anything no thank you in a red bag. You're going to leave that red bag at the table. Go put your other shoes out in the basket and you're dropping. Okay. We're going to put them out on the floor for you. And then you can come get your red bag and leave with your no thank you shoes. One note on shoes and clothing for inspection. We've talked a little bit about fast passes. If you are, I think this applies if you're earning or keeping a fast pass. If you're earning a fast pass for the first time, anything we pull at inspection is a grace. Because if you're leaving with it We don't have to store it. We don't have to label it. We don't have to scan it. Like any of the extra work that goes into pulling a no thank you. That's your freebie. That's your learning process. So uh, as long as nothing else is pulled off of the floor for quality or pricing purposes, um, you will have earned a fast pass. Yay! For shoes. If we are handing the no thank you shoe back to you, that is that's your freebie. Okay. Um, so the fast pass, the losing it, is more about the things we pull off the floor. So where experienced sellers get into trouble is that they're, oh, I have a fast pass. Oh, I know what I'm doing. Da, da. And they're maybe not as thorough as they were in the beginning. And then we see, pulls happening under the super bright lights of the lad. Brittany is asking, I know it changes our short sleeve shirts are okay. I saw this answered, I think, in our group. I think Stephanie had a really good answer. It was kind of like, as long as it's not like a summery shirt, like it has a sunset or like a beachy sunset on it or something. Yes. But still no camp t-shirts, no, like I said, no summery shirts. It has to be kind of like plain or, like I know my boys have like umpteen hundred Minecraft t-shirts, right? They're going to wear those all year round. Same with like teams stuff, like Tigers, Michigan State, like all of that. It's like, um, oh no, you don't apologize, Brittany. I don't even know if it was. I'm in so many JBF groups. I don't. It may have been somebody else's group, to be honest. But I liked the answer. It kind of stuck with me. So, Chris has a really good question. What pricing causes things to be pulled? So, I spend money on advertising this sale as 60 to 90% off retail. So, if we find something on the floor that is just 30% off retail, that's too high. That 60% off retail is like really for things that are new with tags or like new with tags. They have to be in like perfect condition to be the 60% off. I've seen things marked, at the same price that I could buy them on Amazon at. That's not, and sure, there's like a convenience factor, right? I could see where the seller was coming from in that moment of like, well, maybe same price on Amazon, but you're getting it right now. You don't have to wait for it. But the general public, the moms and parents and grandparents coming to shop the sale, have seen it advertised as 60 to 90% off retail. That's what they're coming for. They're expecting what I would consider like elevated mom to mom experience and pricing. So that's where we would pull. It doesn't happen. I'll say it does not happen often. And we're not going through the racks, like looking at every tag, right? But if we come across something, we're like, whoa, 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 like that's outrageous. We'll pull it. And so this is where I'm just going to give you like a little quick personal lesson. I was, gosh, was this this must have been our winter sale, our bonus sale that we had. I was shopping for jackets for my boys, and I found a Columbia jacket and a Land's End jacket. And the Land's End jacket, I think, was like marked for $15 or $20, and the Columbia was $60. And I was like, what? That's crazy. $60. And my boys are 8. Okay, so we're not talking like a teen jacket. We're talking a little boy's jacket. Let this be a lesson to you, because when I balked at that price, then I read the tag, and the tag told me that this was like a 3-in-1 type jacket. So it had the inner layer zipped in, and so you could wear it like all 3 together, or just the fleece, or just the outer kind of like waterproof shell. So 3 jackets for $60 and it was like brand new. Yeah, I bought the Columbia jacket because it was 3 jackets. um, and it may have been half off. I don't remember. It was definitely on the last day of the sale, but I don't remember if it was half off or not. So anyway, I felt I got a really good deal out of that jacket, even though it was more expensive than the other one that I had in my hand. But that description really sold it for me. And my son actually just tried that jacket on and it still fits him. So it's not in the sale this time. Sorry, friends. But that was a really good question. Thank you for bringing up pricing. Skimming through one more time. Here's books, arts and crafts, electronics, games, puzzles, education. I'm trying to put, we have these big gray shelves. I'm trying to put all of anything in a box looks so good on those shelves, like lined up like a nice little neat library. Our staff gets them all like edged perfectly in there. Oh, looks so good. So that's that whole area. Remember sporting goods. Sporting goods is near our large item area. Um, Dance and like gymnastics type things are not considered costumes. They are sporting. And then sporting shoes are the only shoes that do not go in shoes. They stay in sporting goods. So dance shoes, cleats, ice skates, things like that will go in sporting goods. Here's our clothing, somewhat what we call hyper merchandised. So think gender, then size, then category. When you are approaching the rack, I'll try and explain this as best I can. When you're looking at the rack and you have your divider right in front of you, and this is, let's say it's swim, you want to always place to the right of that divider, not the left, not in front of it, behind it. Oh my God, I think I said the left, to the right of that divider. Sorry, I missed a few comments, but so behind that divider, it should be pretty obvious because other people have probably placed some of their items there too. So, but you got to picture an invisible string hanging down from that divider to the lower bar. So there's not another set of dividers down here. Okay, it's just kind of it. So by the end of the sale, it may not be as like pretty and organized as when we dropped off, right? Because things will have kind of shifted around. I will make this more clear on this page, but the exceptions to this will be maternity and juniors or teen clothing. Those will be, I do have boy and girl teen sections, but those will be category, then size. So all of your PJs will be together, organized by size. Very similar to how a department store would be put together. There's mention of accepted brands here. That is a sampling of what we accept. Definitely go out to our what to sell when guide for a full list. And then here's your large items. Register for your large item bonus. We can't do it on the spot. We won't have printed your bonus. You're getting like a physical thing. We won't have printed it if you do it on the spot. So it doesn't cost you anything. It's just going to the page and putting your information in. If this DIY yellow tag thing scares you, forget I mentioned it. Just do what you've always done. Come to the sale with your stuff. We will help you out. And that's it. Unless I see any giant jump out questions, I might be wrapping up. I've been talking for 1 hour and 13 minutes, roughly. Ooh, I can like real quick go to a page. Look at that. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. So my next steps, I am going to put together a big, as comprehensive as I can make it, drop off email that has a link to this, has a link to the recording, has all the reminders in it, has your FastPass status. And I want to focus on sending that out to you. That will be separate from your registration reminder. That will actually come. I'm honestly thinking I sometimes do that sometimes I do it like the day of drop off, and sometimes I do it like the day before. I think people really like it when I do it the day of, if I can, you know, sit down long enough to make that happen. So that is my next step. I know there's going to be some questions. I am never discouraging you from asking questions, but I do want you to take a minute and try and absorb this information. It's a lot. And I know it probably looks like really scary or like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, but you totally can. It's just a lot all at once. Once you see drop off, once you see how it goes, how friendly my staff is, and how helpful they are, like, this will be a breeze. And if you are wandering around looking like a lost puppy, we scoop you up. We don't let anybody just flounder out there. We'll be like, hi, can I help you find something? And that's not patronizing at all. It is real, because this isn't like walking into Meijer, right? You haven't been here before. I haven't been here before. This is a whole new floor plan for us. I have not been here before. So we're all going to be a little bit like, where was that again? So don't stress. We're here to help you. Yeah. I'm going to say this one last thing, and it's going to sound stupid, cheesy at the end, but I meant to say it in the beginning, but I forgot. But the reason this guide is a lot of information is because I want it to be helpful, answer all of your questions up front, and make you feel prepared and comfortable to come in to drop off. I am only able to do something like this because of my two kind of like year-round employees, Becca and Jackie, because they are helping you guys with all of the kind of random, answering as they come in questions. When they're able to take some of that stuff off of my plate, I can focus on things like this, because I wanted to have this for like all of our sales, and we're getting it now on number 7. So shout out to Becky. Oh my God, I'm combining your names. I'm saying Becca and Jackie together. You're just Becky, and that's wrong. So props to Becca and Jackie, and our seasonal employees, Allison and Steph, who also ad hoc answer your questions, answer your texts. It's a huge effort, and I couldn't do it without them. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope it answers all your questions. If it doesn't, let me know. I'll be happy to clarify. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you have a great night, and I am so, so, so excited to see you at drop off. Good night.